Today we have the pleasure of two uh, fantastic hospitality veterans joining us from different backgrounds, also located in different areas of the world. I'm really blessed to call them dear friends and people I highly respect from who they are as a person and what they've done in their past. With me today is Hannah, who's also assisting and moderating today. So, welcome, guys. First of all, I would like to hand over the word to Johann. Johann, you have been in touch with us for quite some time. But what is very impressive is your 44 years experience in hospitality. So you're not one of the young guns, I would say, anymore. But for those of you who have not met you before, what are you doing? Who are you? And yeah, just give us a bit of background.
Well, just in a nutshell, I'm for one in the first side. I'm working for a company called 1218 Investment Management. We are an investment company for in the hospitality industry. We do 80% buy properties in leisure destinations. We have a hotel in Sardinia. We have a hotel in Ibiza. We are in Scotland. But at the same time, we also have a property in New York. We are attached to a company which is called Lindner Hotel Group, which has 46 properties, and they are affiliated with Hyatt, partly as franchise with Joie de Vivre, the Lindner Hotels, and Destination by Hyatt, the Seven Pines Hotels on Ibiza and Sardinia, and the brand Me and All, which was developed by Lindner, today is a hard brand of Hyatt. So that's one part, and the second part, I have my own hospitality consultancy in Switzerland, and I do everything what is related to hotel business. That means we do brokerage, we do consulting, concept development, everything what makes fun. At the moment, very exciting. We're developing a new brand with two very famous German artists, worldwide very well known, and we hope to get with this brand latest the end of next year in the market. I'm 44 years. Shit, time is passing. 44 years hospitality. I started many years ago as a cook, as a hotelfachman, they say in Germany. I did a hotel school in Germany and in Switzerland. Went a little bit around the world. I lived in 13 countries. First managed hotels, then developed hotels, and now buying, evaluating hotels together with 1218. It's the most fantastic business actually you can work at and you can work in.
No, thank you, Johan. There's definitely a lot to unpack, a lot of experience that you bring to the table. You mentioned a few times Hyatt, and that's a perfect transition to the second person who's with us here today, who's the VP development for Hyatt Middle East and Africa. Also has spent quite some years in the hospitality industry, from Marriott over Starwood. Ludwig, welcome to this call. Thank you for your time. And who are you? What are you doing? What's your background?
First of all,
And why are
thanks
you
for
here?
having us, Tom. And actually, I did stay in one of your hotels, Johann. We stayed at the Seven Pines in Ibiza, which is an incredible
Great.
resort, by the way. If I invite everyone to go in and check it out, fantastic resort. We had a great time. The GM is Carlos Fritz. I don't know if he's still there, but I remember him very well. Excellent GM. Tom, I started quite a while back, maybe a bit less than than Johan, but I started in 2000, 2001. Started as a trainee with IHG, which was at the time Intercontinental Hotels Group. We have helped launch the brand called Staybridge Suites in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And then, as soon as I finished my MBA, I joined Starwood Hotels in Brussels for almost 12 years. Then Starwood got acquired by Marriott, so I spent some time with Marriott as well during that transition period. And almost 7 years ago, I started my new role with Hyatt, handling development for Middle East and Africa. So For people who don't know what development is, because you hear a lot of business development, real estate development, it's quite confusing. So from an operator side, you have specialized people who go and source deals, who find deals with owners, such as Johann, for example. We sit down together, we study the deal together, we negotiate a contract, a management agreement, or a franchise agreement, and then we sign the deal, and that's how companies grow.
As a general question, and also to set the stage a bit, Ludwig, this one's for you. How would you describe the state of hospitality industry today, and what excites you or concerns you the most about where we're heading and what you see is coming in the industry?
Oh, that's a very philosophical question that could take hours to answer, but it's a very important question. I see a big change happening in the next. I would love to see it in the next 5 years, but definitely within the next 10 years, there will be major adoption. And I think the catalyst for this change in the hospitality sector will be blockchain. I wouldn't say AI specifically. Obviously, AI will help on the operations side, on the guest service side, on the front facing, i.e., hotel employees and guests. But I would say on the investment side, blockchain with a combination of AI. I don't see a lot of enthusiasm yet in the industry because it's a very traditional industry. People don't know what is coming, and we've seen it in the Web 2, where we saw Airbnb suddenly appearing out of nowhere and becoming this multi-billion-dollar company because it shook the system. It shook the hospitality traditional hotel business via one app. You book, you stay, you check, you comment, you do everything on that app, and you pay as well. So you don't need those third parties like Booking.com, Expedia. Even Expedia and Booking.com shook the whole entire system of hospitality, and hotels are still suffering from that. I mean, our main business now, and Johan, I'm pretty sure you're the same, is to try to have as much direct bookings as possible and avoid paying fees to Expedia and Booking.com and Kayak and all these major companies. So Web 2 was a big change for the hospitality business, which they're still trying to catch up and trying to adapt to. I think the major change will be in Web 3, and Web 3 meaning the whole blockchain, smart contracts, and how people interact with these hotels and these companies. So I'm pretty excited about the change that is happening. We're seeing and reading more and more about RWAs, real world assets. I sent Tom 2 days ago actually an article about how the Dubai government is adopting and creating policies for RWAs because they see the future in smart contracts and blockchain. So I mean, obviously, what Askira is doing is the right way of doing it. But Askira is, I mean, from my conversation with the whole team, are pioneers. They're basically writing the rule book of how the hospitality investment in the Web3 would be working. And the whole hospitality industry, I think, will be watching, listening, and learning very soon.
Thank you. Thank you for that input, Ludwig. I think it's for me always fun to hear and listen and learn from people such as yourself or from Johann. I think you already touched base on a few points there, which is what impact, Johann, does technology, not necessarily blockchain, but overall technology, have on the industry? And in your 44 years, you've seen quite a lot of change. Maybe start with giving us some history. How was hospitality 30 years ago, when you were like just 14 years already in the industry? And how has technology overall evolved over time?
It's funny, Tom. Sometimes I'm talking to people and telling them about how we were communicating. We had no cell phones. we were working with a telex. Most people nowadays even don't know what a telex is. So a telex is basically it's like a typewriter, and you have a ribbon, and you're typing, and you're typing basically on a ribbon, and this ribbon at the end goes through, let's say, a receiver and sending it like a telex, more or less, to another part of the world. And that is the way we made our reservations. We had no computers. We could only do it like this. I don't know, Ludwig, maybe even you don't know. I don't know. That was before your time. So I went through all this. When I was working at the reception, I was working with the NCR 42. That is a miracle of a machine, because it is a mechanic machine with about 500 buttons, and that was the machine you were making your bills with for the clients, for the guests. So a lot of things nowadays you just laugh about, but that is the way we were working. I got the whole cycle basically from how we worked with the telex. Then we got, of course, a fax. That was a huge invention to our time, because suddenly we didn't need a telex anymore. We started using a fax machine. And step by step we got, of course, to internet. That was in my years when I was in Egypt. We started with internet. We got our first email address. So a lot has happened in the past 20, 30, 40 years. Today, technology, I believe, it's extremely important. We see more and more hotels which are more or less working like at an airport. You have a self check-in. You work a lot with systems which basically deliver services and informations to the hotel in order to be able to satisfy guests, to reduce staff, because staff in this part of the world, in Europe, it's a huge issue. So we try to find ways to deliver service, but at the end with digital platforms, in a digital way. So we give the service, but at the end there are less people working in a hotel as it is before. In the Middle East, in Africa, in Asia, the hotels are still blessed with enough people, enough staff, but in many parts of the world, especially in Europe, it's a huge issue. So I think technologies are becoming more and more important. It depends on, of course, are you working in a 4-star, 5-star, or a 3-star segment? That makes a big difference. There are hotels where you hardly see an employee because you can do everything yourself. But at the same time, we are all getting so much used to technology that we even in the higher category hotels, we start being used to work with the apps which are available in the hotel. You can communicate directly with the concierge. You can communicate directly with the reception. You check in with you open your door with your smartphone or with your key card. So a lot of things are already in place. AI is coming in now, and very rapid, and I believe that is even more a bigger change we get in the market, because we are really able to deliver service in a much faster way. We can do a lot of things in a way that a guest really feels from there is somebody taking care of me, and at the end it is all AI. So I think we all know that. I think everybody nowadays know what ChatGPT is and how you work with that, but that is just a very small thing. There are many other platforms which we start using in the hospitality, which become more important. We get to know the guest much better. It is like let's say you're spying on your guest. You know exactly what the profile is, what he prefers. If he stays in a hotel in Amsterdam in a Hyatt and he goes to Dubai, then basically in Dubai they know what his preferred room was, or what he prefer when he has his breakfast, or what he likes to order, what kind of wine he likes, or what kind of specifics wishes he has. So I think it is in general, technology is more and more important for us in every direction, even if it comes to building management systems and so on. We cannot do without. If we go to Africa and some of the African countries, you will find it at the moment less. It's different again. If you go to Dubai, I think they are very far up front with everything what is happening in the world. And in Europe, we are trying to do that, but the money which is available in the Middle East compared to the money which is available in Europe, and also the profitability of the hotels is a different one. So at the end, in certain things, you are limited.
Hannah, before we move to the next question, I would like to add one part quickly, which is one place I sometimes stay is the social hub, and there you can check in automatically. You just walk in. I had a late flight, and then I just walked in, checked myself in on the iPad, even created my own key card, went up the elevator. Everything was fully automated. There was no
Yeah.
person there, and I loved that. It was so convenient. On the other side, hotels, I feel like, pivot more and more to real experiences. Like, it's not, obviously you have the business travel, and which is for short-term stay. They need to have a breakfast, same room, good optimized on for their kind of target group, which also goes back to understanding the data and your customer profile. But in the same time, there are more and more retreats, wellness, nutrition, where really also people spend money on and getting away from the technology to just relax and have a different kind of experience.
How do the rising interest rates and the inflation are impacting the hotel strategies, the hotel acquisition strategies? How do you see that? Um, then we can also link this to what Eskira is also proposing.
Well, look, if I looking for equity today, and I'm lucky, I pay an interest fee between, when I'm very lucky, between 12 and 18%. And that is
Sorry
then
for cutting
for
you.
for
Can you repeat that a bit slower? When you are
between,
lucky,
when you're lucky, 12%.
and when you're
And
semi lucky.
if you're not lucky, you are at around, let's say, 16 to 18%. If I talk to our equity partners, the big guys, they asking today between 18 and 22%. And that makes, again, it very difficult to buy hotels, because this 18 or 20% that was working in a time that we had a low interest period, the 10, 11 years where we were by nearly zero, that worked. But you have to understand, 1% interest by buying a hotel is a couple of million in what the hotel cost more. So it costs less, sorry, what is reducing the price. So I give you an example. I get offers we are very active in Austria. The hotels are in average, let's say, between 35 and 40 million. And they are at least 30 to 40% overpriced. For one side, because they are not in a very good shape, so you have to put a lot of capex. But on the other side, the interest rates are too high, and a high interest rate is basically reducing the price that you pay for a hotel, and that's why we don't have so many transactions. And that makes it also difficult. I mean, if I'm working with a fund like Union Invest, they are happy with 4.5, 5% still today. With them I can work, but they are not really prepared to go too deep into this kind of product. So they are very selective when it comes to hotels. So that makes it very difficult. I was working on a hotel in Paris. We got it offered for 165 for 120 rooms. And at the end, the big real estate agents, they analyzed it and they said, well, at least 185, but that was a yield from 3%. Yeah, nobody will buy it for a yield of 3%. So that makes it difficult, Jana, and that's why I believe Askera is doing exactly the right thing. The owners have most of the time no chance to get the money somewhere else. So and it will be always it always depends on do you really want it or not. It depends also from what is the risk. Not not every owner You cannot put them all in the same box. You have the one which are very stable and financially strong. Then you have also some that are financially not that strong. So you always have to see also why do they need the money and for what are they using the money. So and there the point comes in, Tom, is your due diligence. The due diligence is the let's say the most important part of everything, because if you make mistakes in your due diligence, it will cost you money.
What's your view on retail investors entering the hospitality market through fractional models?
I would say everyone is waiting for the first test. Once the first test is passed, the floodgates will open. I, for a fact, know a lot of owners who are watching very carefully the tokenization and tokenizing of real estate assets. It's still being tested worldwide. It's being tested actually in Dubai, and it's very successful in the US as well. But it's all tokenization of local real estate, apartments, office buildings. So it's been very successful in Dubai, and I know that in Canada and in the US, it's doing well. But no one has done hospitality tokenization yet. So I think Askira will be the first one, and the market is watching. Even though people don't talk about it, but you can see it on LinkedIn. I can see who's following Askira. A lot of senior people in the hospitality industry are following Askira and following the news as well.
I also can say when I'm going a lot to conferences, I talk a lot to people about Askira. I do a lot of advertising. People ask me, "Van, what do you think, and why are you doing this?" I say, "Well, this is the future, and it is. We just have to get live, and we just have to spread the word, and people have to understand." And I believe what you say, Ludwig. Yes, in other asset classes, it is already working. So, and that will help us when we start.
Where do you see the hospitality industry moving in the next 6 months? Where do you see the hospitality industry in the next 6 years? And how do you think you'll be part of the next 6 years?
I think within the next 6 months, nothing major is going to happen other than watching very carefully the political and geopolitical scene in the US and Russia, Ukraine as well. But in terms of actual changes to the business, I'm not seeing anything happening within the next 6 months. What I'm seeing within the next 6 years, and I said between 5 to 10 years, obviously the operators are still going to be there. The Hyatts, the Marriotts, the Intercontinentals, they're all going to be there. The owners are still going to be there. Where it's going to start getting shaky is on the financing side. So if you want like kind of a last word from my side, I see an app where you can invest in hotels, you can book your hotel stays, you can earn points, you can have loyalty, you can meet other people, you can chat, you can do everything on one ecosystem. Without going to booking.com, Expedia, hotel sites. You are part of a community. You invest in a certain hotel. While you're investing in that hotel, you will be, let's say, that platinum guest because you have invested in that hotel. You can trade on the platform. Again, very important. You can book your stay on the platform. You don't need to pay a third party to do that. And if that can be done on one platform using blockchain and NFTs and having those smart contracts with you, it's going to be a game changer. That's where I see it.
I can just agree on what you say. Very, very, very well done, Ludwig. I believe it is difficult to say from where are we in 6 or in 10 years. It depends also a little bit on the continent where you are, because in Europe, hotel business is getting more and more difficult. If you go to the Middle East, it's moving very well. If you go to Africa, Africa wants to grow. There are a lot of hotels in the pipeline, but they have major problems in financing, like Ludwig also said before. So we have a lot of challenges, but these challenges we see in the market. But if you talk about the traveler, there are more and more opportunities. There are so many destinations, new destinations coming up. And yes, high-end destinations, but also affordable destinations. Tourism is still growing 3 to 4% a year, and that will stay like that.
Fantastic closure. Thank you, Johann. Thank you, Ludwig. Also, thank you, Hannah.